Yeah, last little thing I guess is just Concord, mostly because like last time we
RIP.
spoke, I'd played it. It had just come out. It is now 2 weeks later, and that game is gone. Like absolutely, just shut down,
Absolutely
offline.
wild.
May come back at some point. May never come back. My money is on it never coming back. To be entirely honest.
I
Just
don't know.
just a wild thing to happen.
Yeah, so if you don't know the news, Sony have basically just announced that they're ending all support for the game. It's just going offline. They literally
It is offline already. Yeah.
Oh, is it offline? Oh, yeah,
Mhm.
sorry. Look at the date. It's just been yanked offline, which is
Which
is
just gone
wild.
refunded. Everyone refunded.
it's just wild to
Yeah.
me that you would. I suppose it makes financial sense to kill it rather than support it with servers, whatever. But it just still baffles me that it felt a bit rash, but maybe not. Like, I don't know what goes on behind closed
I
doors
think the
of
numbers
Sony.
must have been super bad. I
Yeah,
mean,
they
everyone was
must have
latching
been-
onto those numbers on Steam, which were just one platform. But like I was saying when I was playing it, I was like, I'm already running into matchmaking issues. As much as some people say that's not a thing. The matchmaking for the main game mode was like almost impossible. And from the days after we recorded that, it just became progressively worse and worse as fewer people were playing. So, I don't think they could have realistically supported that going forward and expected the tide to change without something drastic. So, I don't know. Maybe they go and relook at how... Because I don't think the game is bad. I just think it's not... There's nothing going for it that's entirely unique or exciting. I think the gunplay is really great, but just having good gunplay doesn't mean a lot of people are going to play it. There's loads of games that, do that at their core and do a lot more on top of that. So I don't know. I just think there's so much scorched earth on this name now to kind of like try and relaunch it. I just don't think that's going to happen.
I don't know. Like, I'm with you, but it also just feels like such a waste when all this work's gone into it.
8 years of work,
Maybe there is something in... Like, I don't know what a free-to-play model looks like. Can you just put this on PS Plus and it exists, or can you make it free-to-play and have microtransactions? Like, I don't know.
This is the thing. I think the monetization of it was 100% a contributing factor to it, struggling out of the gate, like $40 for it.
Yeah.
But I don't think just making it free-to-play is
going
to move the needle, really. There are so many free-to-play games now that just being free-to-play does not mean you are a success. You look at something like Marvel Rivals. I think Marvel Rivals already is facing an uphill battle in that it needs to steal mindshare from Fortnite and Overwatch and, all the other shooters in that regard. But it's got a name like Marvel behind it. So already you've got some brand cachet, that people want to play as all these characters they're familiar with. Like Concord coming in as a new IP, I respect we need more new IP, but this goes to show why so many companies are so scared of it, because this can happen.
It can, but then on the flip side, 2 weeks later you launch Astrobot.
Yeah, it's
really
true. It's such an odd space for Sony to be in, like to have this happen and then Astrobot be like a massive game for the year. I think it goes to show that there were a lot of mistakes made by leadership of the past, like your Jim Ryans, that there was this massive push on Sony's side to do live service games, and they just took like a shotgun approach. Like, we are going to put so many out there that we only need one of them to stick to make this worthwhile. But then you had The Last of Us, which big name recognition, that didn't happen.
Cancelled.
Concord is now, for all intents and purposes, cancelled. You've got Jade Raymond's... can you even name the game she's working on? Fair Game with the dollar sign in it.
Game.
Yeah, that game that got like one trailer and was like another extraction shooter. You've got Bungie doing Marathon. It's...
you're right. Even
Helldivers was a surprise hit, but like even that has kind of like lost a lot of momentum.
100%. So to 2 points I'm going to touch on quickly. X-Defiant launched earlier this year. I played it. I absolutely loved it. I think it's a great shooter, great Ubisoft shooter. Am I playing it today? No, I do not have the time to play.
They're already struggling. They're giving away free in-game currency to try and get people back in.
Exactly what I'm getting to is like, that game's really good, honestly. Like, and it's got Ubisoft behind it. Ubisoft, fantastic at supporting games. It feels good. It's a good game. Is it going to survive? I don't know. Like it's just, and then Helldivers. I love Helldivers 2. I'd love to play more of Helldivers 2. And there is content coming out for it. Like I know that there's been teasers of, there's a third faction coming. Is it coming? We don't know. It's rumors, whatever. All the people, like my core group of friends / work colleagues I played Helldivers 2 with, there was a trailer or a news article that came out this week about this mysterious third faction. And I shared it with them and I was like, oh, that's pretty cool. And there was just, everyone's like, like we kind of Helldivers is done. Like we've had our fun with it, and that's it. And
it shows you. People give Fortnite shit because they're like, oh, it's Fortnite, whatever, But there is an art to making these live service games continually compelling, and I think Fortnite nails that in so many respects. Like people are still playing Fortnite every single day, and it's been out for years now, and it's. Not because it was first. A lot of people like to say, oh, it was the first one out the gate. That 100% gave it a head start. But if it dropped the ball for 2-3 seasons in a row, people move on very quickly.
That's not even fair to say that it was first out the gates. I mean, Apex came after, and I don't know what the player numbers look like now, but Apex is still very well loved and played by many people. Yeah, as is, true. I think Warzone, Call of Duty's Warzone is probably still played by a lot of people.
Yeah. And you've got games like Valorant that have made an impact. You've got now Valve with Deadlock. And sure, these are big companies. Yeah. But it shows that stealing mindshare from other games takes something special and something big. A new IP that already from the get-go didn't impress people was never going to move the needle. And it is somewhat ridiculous that Sony didn't acknowledge that this was going to be a problem. And instead of trying to maybe delay and see if they could regroup and figure out a different way, they just put it out anyway. It's sad for the development team. It is worse on Sony to allow this to happen.
It must be so crushing to have been on that team, honestly. Like you work so hard and then this happens, like
especially because they'd been working on the game for 8 years, so already that's slightly problematic because they're chasing a trend over such a long period that the trend changes. But like people, I hate seeing online when people are like, oh, Sony should have let the studio make what they wanted to make. They did. This is literally what they were making, and Sony purchased them last year because they saw Concord and were like, this will fit in our portfolio of games. No studio was forced to do this. It just was ill-timed and a bad trend to chase.
Bad business decision. You're right. Sorry, a trend, not Sony buying the studio, not a bad business decision. Well, maybe if this is a game they're putting out. But it's just screams to me of, like, I can't even say this. I can't point the finger at Sony execs and be like, oh, like, look what they've done. What they could have done maybe is marketed the game more. So I feel like it was
100% was marketed super poorly.
It is kind of just like sent out to dial because it feels like there's no marketing. Oh, fresh coffee. Cheers. But it, in the same breath, for like devs in general, like I know this game's been in development for 8 years, and I know game development is hard, and I have no clue how to make a game. But you have to wonder, like, is it not scary to launch a game like this in this not economy? It's the wrong word. In this environment,
this
landscape with all these existing shooters. It's the same thing. I feel it reminds me so much of when Dota and League of Legends were like the thing. Millions of people playing them, and millions of people still do. But remember how many companies tried to make a MOBA? How many of those MOBAs still exist today? None. Like, spoiler.
How many companies tried to follow the success of Hearthstone? Valve tried and didn't work.
Gee, I mean, Valve did Artiv. You think, oh my god, it's Valve. It's Artiv. It's a Dota 2 card.
It's Valve and it's Dota. It's like fail? Two of the biggest names in the industry, and it's still failed. Yeah, these things are a risk.
It's wild to me because I think it's different for Concord, because if you've worked in for 8 years, it's difficult to let it go. Like, I can imagine how horrific you must be to be like, it's not going to work. We have to cancel it after 6 years. Like, you can't. You kind of have to see it through. But it's just sad to see that this is how it's happened now. Like, it's done. I don't know. Game
in this industry,
hard,
being good is not enough. Like, if you are aiming for the Fortnites and the Warzones and the games that are really, people are coming back every single day to play, you need to be so exceptional to, like, really convince people to stop playing them, that just being a good feeling shooter is nowhere near enough.
No.
Apex nailed it because they were like, look at this, we're a 3v3 game with high mobility, because Fortnite didn't have a lot of that at the time. Also, we have none of this building bullshit, which Fortnite was primarily focused on 100%. At the time. It set itself apart enough that people gave it a good chance. And it had no marketing behind it because it just like shadow dropped. And, you know, that alone is a marketing play in itself. Concord was like, first trailer was this very B-grade Guardians of the Galaxy vibe with a 15-minute cutscene and this focus on an evolving story. That people aren't going to show up for that in a live service game. It was just bad from the outset, I think.
But even to go back to your Apex example, like even over and above the fact that it was a 3v3 first-person shooter or whatever, they introduced so many new ideas to the Battle Royale that became standard across everything that followed it. Like, remember, before Apex, we had PUBG. PUBG was really good, don't get me wrong. I love playing PUBG. But fucking confusing. If you dive into the game for the first time, it's like, cool, I pick up this weapon. What scope can I attach to it? What ammo does it use? Apex
very obscure and obtuse.
Apex went, you know what, you pick up a gun, you pick up this attachment, it auto attaches. There's different tiers of attachments. You literally pick them up and it auto attaches. One of the cuckest things about a battle royale is if you die early, can't respawn. You know, it's the first person to introduce respawns. Apex.
Oh yeah, like, you're right. Yeah, the ability for your team to respawn you.
No, how many Fortnite has taken, it's funny because Apex bounced off Fortnite, and then Fortnite's taken a lot of inspiration from Apex in a lot of different things where you can now respawn in Fortnite. Fortnite No Build was like a limited time mode. Now it's its own thing.
It's an inflection point for that game, in my opinion. I think people were bouncing off that game because of the building, and that was a smart
they realized,
move.
Like, shit, maybe the building's cool, but it's putting a lot of people off. Let's just not have building. Look where they are.
Because it's such a high skill ceiling. So,
so the point I'm trying to get is like, Concord can exist, fine, but like, what is its thing? Like, what? I don't know. Like, I can't tell you. I don't have the magic answer. I think the reason these things stand out is because people come up with things that we've never thought about before. Like, the simple example of respawning in a battle royale was like a non-existent concept, and somebody at Apex went, let's do that, and it seems so natural now.
It's also just like Concord is a $40 game where all you're doing is playing team deathmatch and control.
Yeah, there's nothing
insane.
to set it apart.
These are modes that are given for free on other games, like you know, Destiny's PvP or you know, other games don't even feature this because like the idea of team deathmatch being a big player in today's landscape is like non-existent outside of Call of Duty and Battlefield. And even in Battlefield's case, it's not enough anymore. So it's just ill-conceived. It's a game that needed to come out like 6 years ago. It's a problem.
Sad, super sad.
That's why I think fundamentally it's not coming back, because those are such core issues to the game that you don't just come back and be like, Concord's free to play, now it's going to make a splash. Like, you saw that this week or this month with Foam Stars going free to play. I had no fucking clue that game was not free to play. Oh my god, there's a catcher. And like, did that make you want to jump into Foam Stars? No. It's not enough. It's not enough. So it's not that simple a solution, and I can see Sony just being like, cool, sunk cost fallacy, we might just take our own hint here and just not bring this back. And I think the people that are going to suffer there are, what is the studio called? It's not Fire Sprites, it's Fire something.
I feel sorry for them because it's like Sony bought them, but does Sony now go, we're going to close you?
I could see it. And that's, you know, so it kind of also makes, there's a lot of people like taking some pleasure in, you know, dancing on the grave of this game. But we as an industry also then, when studios close, go, this is ridiculous, and like, we should be supporting developers and this and that. You can't have it both ways. Like, if you're going to make fun of Concord for failing, then you must also accept that this is going to cost people their jobs. And Concord didn't fail because people made fun of it, sure, but we need to be a bit more, I think, sensitive to the complex issues around why it failed and how it's going to impact real people. Because I think it will. I definitely see problems at that studio now. Unfortunate. Yeah, really unfortunate, but it shows the harsh realities of this industry and just how, we keep saying we want new IP. This is why new IP is so risky. Yeah.